brought Jonathan Pageau into our awareness was sort of as a bishop of symbolism. I mean, the man now runs the Symbolic World website, and it's all into symbolism. And and I don't know why I can't find these videos on either of their channels, but they brought Peterson came on and he was like, check this out. It's a symbol, and he put it on his head. It's a symbol, and he put it on his head. It's a symbol, and he put it on his head. See, welcome. This is going to be a Fringe encounter with Clara the Sociologist. There's a lot of disclaimers that got to go into it. Just like now when I play that branding, I have to say, since Chad has brought us that such things have been DW approved and are now available, are found as the metaphysics of Pepe on the channel. This is the correction to that branding.
We're going to talk about frogs.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay? So yeah, when I saw the video that you put up, was it 2 days ago now? I think.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 days ago. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, and the next morning I got an email from my brother who also studies.
So there, the official disclaimer has been corrected. And as disclaimers go for this Fringe encounter, see, Fringe encounters are supposed to be the first time ever I meet somebody. And what happened was Chad gaffled me on his first episode of the Friday Morning Frameless with this lady. And some of you have decided that some of it, was worth time stamping. Let's see, good insight by Grizz at an hour 20, here's a 58:24. Let's see what was your light. And if you know a lantern, like you can adjust like how the light goes in and out of it. And identity is a constellation of axiomatic shadow lanterns through which you project your light of selfhood. Much like Indra's web, you can't see yourself other than reflection. And the way you project your light reflects off the personality constellations of the people around you. And that's how you get your sense of self. Oh, man, that was a banger. Now that lady is going to come on for the Fringe encounter, even though we've already met. But first, I'm sure she's bringing magics from the land of academia. And then secret super power-up sauce from Sourdough Neil's Sourdough. Or, I don't know, falafel? Anyway, you all get some savings throws. So you know how that goes. You pick survival, social, wisdom, or heart as the basis for your savings throw. I roll. If it's over 10, you take half damage. Under 10, full damage. Remember, Embody. Yada, yada, yada. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Oh, survivalist with a nat 1. No bonuses apply for you. That's unfortunate. Socialist, you got an 8. That means just a hive mind chatty chat bonus of a +2 gets you there. Lovers of wisdom, you're going to be all right with a 15 tonight. Heart folks coming in with a solid 6. I don't even have a fancy saying for that one. And Indigo kids, you got the pair of chakras 14. Pair of chakras 14 for you. Welcome, Embody. Let's have one more branding, and then we'll begin. The Sociologist and the Sociopath, titled by Mick Mo. Do we have anything Mick Mo on deck? Do we have any? No, here's a money boat. Play that one. LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard. That was a McMo one, I think. I believe that was a McMo masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay. And therefore now we begin the sociologist and the sociopath. Let's see if Clara can get herself up here by signaling appropriately that she's ready. I'm ready. Bring me up there. All right. She made it. Add to the stage. Welcome. Here, let's see. Have a full screen for a minute. Everybody, this is solo layout. This is Clara, the sociologist. Would you like to do any introductions of yourself?
Thank you so much for meeting with me, Grim. I'm really excited to chat with you today.
Good enough. Oh, wow. There's this dominance hierarchy on the camera angles here. What are we doing? There you go. The 2/3 thing, I'm very picky. It's officially, your eyeballs are supposed to be in the 2/3 segment of the camera thing.
How's that?
I've done studies and or watched YouTube videos on it. So let's do first. Define the nature of your professed profession, and to the extent possible, please bring the Academia Clara to this encounter. I know you're getting all friendly and personal in the atmosphere engineered by Lance and such, but this is more of a business meeting, I think.
Okay. Well, forgive my casual attire, I guess.
It's fine. You know, the intimate nature of the TLC fosters that sort of behavior, and I understand how you've been swept into it, the way Harley Quinn has been swept in by the Joker. Let's start though with differentiating for everybody the fields of practice associated with your fields. A lot of us are downstream, as they say, of Jordan Peterson, who's, I guess, a psychologist.
Former psychologist at best.
Former, and now discredited by his hootenanny. But there's psychology, and then there's psychiatrists. Now, do you know which of those ones are the ones that give you the drugs?
I would say psychiatrists.
The atrists. See, because I think there's an easy way to remember it, because ology is studiist, and the guys who are studying can't give you the drugs, but the atrists are going at it, so they can give you the drugs, and that makes the most sense.
I see. Now,
sociology compared to psychology, what's the differentiate that for the uninitiated, please?
Well, a psychologist will study individuals, and I am a sociologist, so I'm studying how do people behave in groups, would be the technical way of putting it. But I'm a microsociologist, so I do take a little bit from psychology, and I am really looking at people and groups and personal change over time. So the waters can be muddied a little bit.
All right, so you said micro sociologist, which means there's probably a macro sociologist. So sociology in general is groups, and I was going to be like, what size groups, tribes or nations or whatever, and that's the difference between macro and micro. Like there would be a macro sociologist who studied the population group size of nation.
Well, I mean, that would be sociology. So I could do that, but I focused on sort of these interactions. So the unit of analysis that I'm using, looking at people within groups, is just smaller. So that's technically called microsociology. People like Irving Goffman and people in that sort of.
And your process of observation of this particular group, this Jane Goodalling of Andorra, becoming a cult member in a noble pursuit of trying to be Jane Goodall.
Jane Goodall's an anthropologist and she studies apes. So I guess if you're thinking of yourself as an ape, then I would kind of be an anthropologist.
There's half of the people that don't hang out in the corner because they're too atheist, like to claim they're risen apes. So how does anthropology differ from sociology?
There's a lot of it's either really technical if you think about the formation of the fields in Europe and the US, but broadly speaking, when Americans call themselves sociologists, they mean the study of groups, and anthropologists are more of the study of culture. The truth is that there's so much overlap that it's kind of a pointless distinction, in my opinion.
Well, it does define what's on the paper that you get at the end, right?
Yeah, well, technically, my undergrad is anthropology and sociology, so I'm qualified to be Jane Goodall.
You're covered.
But you, Grim Grizz, are a sociopath. If I'm a sociologist, so tell me about that. When did you first become a sociopath?
Well, there was the notion that people were pushing the notion just be yourself. And I had to think about it long and hard. And I'm like, even if you're a sociopath, like maybe that's part of God's plan. Just keep being yourself anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically sociopathy means I don't care about anybody else. As far as just as a gist, they're incapable of having the regular caring attachments to other human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do that. I can embody that. And then I heard that the ethno-nationalists were trying to use the acronym FRIENDS for I don't know. I think that the ends they were using were ethno-national socialists. And I'm like, no, I'm not ceding that mimetic territory. We'll use it for the fraternal regiment embodying narcissistic sociopathy. That'll be the FRIENDS, because Brotherhood of Evil Mutants has already been taken. And brotherhood is the thing, because they crown the good with brotherhood. So if the narcissistic sociopaths get the brotherhood crown, then they're also the good guys.
I see. So you've kind of identified as LARPing as a sociopath for a very long time.
Embodying, yes.
Okay, I got it.
On the internet, where it's safe to do so. It's very violent to do it in the physical realm. So here you are studying us. You're involved in it. You're that deep. Do your thing. Study away. You have this opportunity for an interview for your thesis paper you're working toward.
Now you're looking for. Here's the truth. I'm interested in knowing about you. What first brought you here, and I know this is out there, but I want to hear it from you. What would you say today brought you to be so involved in this virtually not alone network and to do all this creative work here?
Well, the Virtually Not Alone network was unifying the tribes, because there would be a show host who would develop an audience and a show host who would develop an audience, and just the thing that was happening was people were feeling virtually not alone, and I thought they should network. So I started flying the flag of the network, and the rules of applying is, if you make it, the rules to fly the flag are that you have to have the aim of making people feel virtually not alone. And if you fail that, the audience is to shame you out of its use. But it's a black mirror, because people don't realize sometimes that being virtually together, and it's that backhanded reminder that you are physically alone.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
I've heard your name come up in this conversation about I know they're not calling it Northwestuary. I don't know what they are calling it.
They should have called it the Pacific Northwestuary.
They should
It's
have.
actually called Estuary Northwest 2024, Encountering Face to Face. And since you've mentioned it, we're now going to play branding and bring up the webpage for it. Congratulations.
Now, what loud asshole will think of next? Is anybody got a dime?
I listen to him. I think he is telling us the truth. That is indeed what he wants. Those of you who are sort of sniffing for duplicity or grift or dishonesty, I don't smell any of that here. I think he's telling us. I see this guy. I see both of these guys, but I see this guy as being very, very genuine and honest. He is telling us exactly what he thinks.
There it is, as mentioned, the Encountering Face to Face website for Estuary Northwest 2024. What do you want to say? Or you brought it up. Now it's been brought up.
I'm curious because, like, I see this comparison between, well, we have this virtually not alone network, but also we're meeting in real life, we're talking to each other, we're building campsites. Some people were very critical. I heard recently of the Chino campsites, but in this like weird way that's like you're not actually stating your criticism, you're just saying it's not all that. So
Whoa. There's people saying that Chino wasn't all that. The campsite at Chino wasn't all that. I'd like to have them on the show because it was all that, and I have the footage to prove it. There was a miraculous moment, perfectly timed with the filming of it. It was. There's people around. It was beautiful. How? Not all that. Not all that.
I just repeat the things I hear.
That's a gossip mongering. We frown upon that.
Some people in the chat have said who might have said that. But I'm interested in this comparison between DNA and then also this, like, why are we meeting in real life and what does that do and what does that mean and what happens?
Well, I go to meet people in real life because I'm coerced into it. I went to Chino because Van Donk arranged me to be in charge of the camping experience, and the responsibility was enough to get me there. And then I've only other gone places that the hive mind has sent me. So it's not by my will, but theirs. You have to ask the Shadow Cabal. But
that's a cop out.
It's good times. It's you can like the actual. If I hadn't been gaffled after my return from Chino, there might be an entire architecture to the network have been constructed already. The actual like things people will say to you that they'll say in person around the campfire that they won't say over the interwebs. That's some real valuable connections can occur in that setting. It's also good because where we're in that as a species into the Borg assimilation essentially. From when I grew up until now, what used to be consumptive and not financially viable, the means of production have fallen into the hands of everybody. We're all a TV station now, and like the lines between the locality of someone is becoming less and less relevant to their impact and connections on the world, and the events like cement those connections also on the material plane of existence. So in both planes, like the way frogs are amphibious, it's the internet and reality, physicality, and so it's cool to the people you swim with underwater to meet up with on the shore every now and then.
Yeah. Okay, now tell me your favorite flavor of ice cream.
Usually chocolate. It gets complicated. The best of the best is peanut butter oatmeal.
What?
Peanut butter oatmeal.
I heard it. I just don't understand it.
It's like peanut butter oatmeal cookies, but they don't make them cookies first. And they just put the ingredients in the ice cream, and it's the best.
What was the first time that you had peanut butter oatmeal ice cream?
Here in Oklahoma, at the Brahms, it's a dairy place. They got the whole chain, like from cow to your mouth. Brahms.
Amazing. Amazing. How often do you go and get the oatmeal peanut butter?
Never anymore. Now I just go through the drive-thru and grab a chocolate. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It's usually not worth it. They don't always have it, and seeing if they have it or not, and smelling people and letting people smell you. So.
That's real.
See, the disembodiment was fine for people like me, the schizoid, like don't interact with other human beings, and then they forced everybody else into it during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm this is how bad it can get out of here. But while you're here, give me money is sort of what's going on here.
I got it. Yeah, just last night, my partner was like, "Do you want to go to this restaurant?" And I had to tell him that restaurant has bad vibes. Why would we go there? Let's get takeout. So, yes.
Why would you buy food from a place that has bad vibes? Why are you only taking your gut instinct? You're still doing business with them. Welcome to America.
It's really good though, and otherwise you have to cook. Are you trying to cook? Like, what's the deal?
I'm trying to figure out what to cook that isn't poison, and I mean, the FDA has no trust level. For me, it was after the whole aspartame thing, but by now everybody should be feeling unwary of it. And the things they put, like when they put fluoride in the baby water, it's like, come on. And like how to eat safe is a big mystery at this point to me that I'm curious to solve. But yeah, takeout's good.
You almost have to grow your own food.
I can't, but I can find people that care enough to do it, that have extra food, because that's the way growing food works.
Yeah. We have raspberries growing in our yard. That's just kind of weird. They just kind of showed up. That's our current experience growing food.
Let's call it a blessing. All right, I'm going to play some branding and see what those 57 comments over there are. They weren't talking to us anyway, really. They weren't. And now I have to clear up this. Grim is anti-premiere. No. I just think that premieres should be of things that you spend time in the editing room and the editing process making before you premiere. Not just that, hey, I recorded this. Here's everything just raw. Here it is, blat. Like the premieres should be put the back work in should be reflected by a premiere, whereas everything else should be here. It is. I know you're waiting for it. You like you can let it sit in members only for a day. That's fine, but to premiere it is but that's an etiquette, stylistic, how you run your channel thing, and everybody's gonna have a different one of those. That's just mine, right? So how does a sociologist go about studying a group other than Oh, look at the casino deck. How could you? What?
My method is hanging out, and so I mean that's why I'm here to ask you questions like, what kind of pets do you have, and what do you like to smoke, and so forth. Because I don't feel like I'm going to get your story until I feel like I know a little bit about who you are.
Who I am in physicality. But the interesting part is the group dynamic, and the group dynamic is the attention shared in the internet places.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not to criticize your angle of approach, but I mean,
an angle of approach here.
How does my ice cream flavor gonna help your paper when the mystery magic is all online?
I feel like the ice cream flavor is going to help me, and I might have to write a whole chapter to get to why it's going to help me, but it's going to help me somehow.
Well, now that we have ChatGPT, that should be easy. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want ice cream flavors. What else?
No, I want to know. I want to know the best summer you had, whether you took a trip or you did something else. I want to know about your best summer experience.
All right, we have Harris. Ups has come in to co-pilot the show. What I need from you, Ups, is to star all the good comments. Me and Clara are going to talk for a while. That make a starring of the comment like that puts it in with the super chats. So if you want to get in there that way, that's fine. We'll do so. We'll answer all of your fancy questions as selected by Ups after we finish our back and forth here. Where I'm sorry, Clara, I did miss the last question.
What was the most fun summer experience you've ever had?
Most fun in the summer. Probably when my friend's father took us camping in Arkansas.
Camping.
Or when I was in the teenage to 20s formative years and we went camping to the beach, both of which involved periods of me running through the woods. First in imaginary D&D like pursuit, we were the orcs storming through the woods. Second, in search of firewood, like primitive man, for the ladies back at the camp. But yes, those would probably be the most fun summer events.
I was afraid you were going to say that you were running through the camp naked. And
why would me being naked have scared you?
It wouldn't have scared me. It was going to add a comedy level, I think. I think nudity adds a level of comedy to these stories.
I was not disrobed in either of those stories. However, I understand why one would inquire.
Appreciate that. What's all this stuff about it being live or being a premiere? I don't get it.
Normally, people get conversations like these Fringe encounters as something I record privately.
Oh.
And this one we're doing live because you're that deep already. Why not?
I got sucked in. What are you smoking today?
Today's Wild Rush cigarillos because cigarettes are $15 a day. These are $5 a day.
But are cigarettes better? I feel like cigarettes would be better.
No, they have way more chemicals. They're way more engineered.
But you don't roll your own.
I don't.
Okay. Well, I'm just curious. Ask about the guy who writes the cards. What? There's somebody who writes your cards?
It's there's identity is contextual. So the me's that does the cards for the show that I have to present to the audience, that's they're different states of mind, and the transition between two is something I'm responsible for managing. I have to get what was intended from the card out in front of everybody, and so the guy who writes the cards could do a better job preparing me most days. Most days.
Huh. You know what's interesting is that I see like some people kind of like monetizing their channels and things like that. What's going on with that?
Well, I'm a grifter because the Blue Church needs to know what sort of characters are actually swimming in these waters.
Mm-hmm.
Because the innocent, like pastor, can just I'll check. Oh, look, something interesting on YouTube, and then the next thing they know, they're making a documentary on how the children are abused in like the border. The children being smuggled across the border are being funneled into abuse factories. All because they don't know what kind of characters exist on YouTube. So much like the "you're actually alone" backhand, I grift hard and try and make my living ish. To the extent I've made a living, it's by showing these people that there's grifting going on and offering fabulous merchandise, such as the Howdy Rascal baby onesie for only $33.11.
Wow.
Howdy, Rascal. That baby sure is. They sure are rascals. And now, at the store link available through the YouTube clicks below, you can get one. You can get one as well as the Denimor's Denny hat. Quite fashionable. Much better than that. What is that? Diminutive toward natives.
No, this is a tin cap. This is from the tin caps baseball team.
Why is the skin being red on the avatar there?
It's an apple. It's like Johnny Appleseed.
What do you know about Johnny Appleseed?
Nothing. Did he travel across America on foot planting apples or something? I don't know.
It's important we hold on to our cultural legends. The agency that card of the show is the Seven of Diamonds. Seven of Diamonds. All right, so you just want personal consumption details? That's sociology today? That's micro-sociology?
I mean, sociology today is everything that's happening. You holding up these cards and people engaging in the chat and you having a sip of beer, like it's all sociology.
Beer?
What I just assumed.
Well, let's look into your assumptions. Where did those come from? That's milk and coffee.
That's nice.
I have managed to defeat the beaver bladder creamer addiction.
What?
Yeah, they use like cells from a beaver bladder to make the flavor in the coffee creamers. It's really, really disgusting. See, but all the disgust of how bad things really are on this planet are about 3 or 4 layers deep. So most people can just float in the kayfabe and eat the poison and feel fine.
But you're not like most people.
No, I got Rip Van Winkled by video games and didn't decide to have a meaningful existence until real late. So I am not swept in and bought in and at all the layers most people are. Like, like what happens if you find out how bad things really are after you've had 3 kids, and you're that deep in it already. It's like, you're not going to take the whatever they tell you to. So I'm free. I get to be the guy wearing the what do they call those? The ones they wear in the street, ringing the bell. The sandwich boards, they call them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the end is nigh with the bell guy. I get to be that.
Yeah.
See, when I first got into sticking around here, and the whole subscriber count toward monetization thing was because I was going to clue in all these Blue Church folk, suckered around Vanderclay, at how bad the censorship on YouTube really was when I got taken out for all the innocent thing I saved. Somehow, perhaps Perhaps through the connections I've made being associated with Vanderklay, the channel has avoided that, and monetization has been successful. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm interested here in this move. I'm hearing sort of this like almost personal transformation, dare I say. Since you've known Vanderklay, it seems.
Yes, I've sold out. See, I was just a troll on
Yeah,
the bottom of the fourth wall,
like
and
a
I was throwing rocks at him and Pajot all the time. Vervaeke throwing rocks.
blue church or what? Why were you throwing rocks at him?
Because Christianity looks like Ned Flanders, and we really need them to cast out demons like Jesus said they would.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm throwing rocks at them because they're not doing what they're supposed to be, and because it's throwing rocks is fun, and what Vanderklay does, this smooth move of, instead of like quit throwing rocks at me, he like gives me human attention and the bump. He like introduces me. He what do we call it? We call it. He lent me the agency, essentially a loan of agency was what it was. It's like the Colbert bump, as popularized. You can search out and see what that is. But how, like, showing up on a place gives you a boost in subscriptions and attention and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Which was nice.
Tell me more about that. Did you meet him in real life? Why was it so important for you to meet Vanderklay as you threw rocks at him?
No, it wasn't that. It was his move of, rather than ignoring the rock people, making them a person.
No fur here. Sharks don't have fur.
What?
Ups is co-piloting. You got to blame him for the surprise brandings.
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Ups. I'm sure Ups is wonderful.
Yeah, you're definitely not approaching the sociology of the situation in the way I would. But
okay, how would you approach it?
Have you seen the movie Shawshank Redemption?
No, I hate horror. We all know I hate horror.
Well, if you find yourself in prison, somebody's going to be running things. And it serves you well, if you're in the prison, to figure out who the person running things is. Or the what they call them is a fixer. There's always going to be a fixer that can find you what you need.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can find the fixer in the group, and I don't know that Ups is the fixer, but like in the archetype cast of the situation where there is a fixer,
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely one of the archetypes at play. And I don't know, these things occur in all groups the way cells all have a similar structure, I think.
Do you think that there's like a sort of an Ups in every corner of the corner, or do you think that the corner is small enough that there's just sort of one fixer that we need, and they kind of rotate between different corners of the corner?
Okay, this corner to the corner language isn't helpful for anybody.
I didn't come up with it. I'm just repeating what I've heard. What language would you use?
Well, I made a whole thing for you in the stream. I think it was yesterday, about how it's whales. It's the thumbnail with the whales.
I just didn't get it in my brain. The thumbnail with the whales.
Yeah. There's a story in there about how I did a visualization walkthrough of the corner to make it easier for you.
I need to find that.
Essentially, there's the surface of attention is the ocean water. And we have whales and ships that pop up, so that if you go to the cove at any one time, there might be this whale over here, there might be this whale over here. And that's sort of how the corner works from the outside perspective. Is you show up at this place that's essentially a group of channel subscriptions on your end.
Mm-hmm.
And then at any point during the day, and sometimes regularly, that ship will show up over the water of attention, and you can go on board and hang out with everybody who hangs out there. So Ups in the corner would be like if the corner turns into a bizarre metaphor. He's one of the nearby nobility that exists in the place. As far as the principalities of the attention, it's like the attention gravity has a politics to it. I haven't looked at this layer much. Because when I try to figure out the characters, it's always like show host, guy who cuts the clips, the reapers. It's like the that level of function, not the social layer, and that ups operates on the social layer in a way that I don't understand.
Okay, so Ops is operating on the social layer, and he's a fixer. What
No, I don't think he's the fixer, but the notion was that I know that there's gonna be a fixer in a group. That group, every group is gonna have one. I don't know if there's one for each little boat, but like the group, once it becomes a group of scale enough, there's gonna be a go-to guy for this, and this, and that person is who I'd look for if I was coming into a group trying to figure it out. I don't know that I could point you to one for this group, but that would be the approach I would take, is figure out what archetypal roles within a group are at play and who's the embodiment of that for each group would be the level of analysis I would start with.
My fear would be, if I did that, then I would be making an assumption about different people and then putting that assumption on them rather than hearing from them. This is how we see ourselves, and trying to understand that universe in their way.
Yeah, when I study people, I guess that's the sociopath angle. I don't trust them, their report at all.
No. The truth is that what's true to you is sociologically true on some level. And however you represent that is making meaning, whether it's empirically true or not. AKA dialogos, maybe. But Grim, what is your role here? Where do you see yourself in terms of these roles?
In terms of what?
You just kind of gave me this analogy that people have different roles in the corner, and I want to know what your role is.
It's like imagine in the halls of government, like there's people that go on the right, they go sit on the right side of the aisle, or they go sit on the left side of the aisle, and then the clock ticks off for lunch, and they all go to the same restaurants and bars. I'm one of those restaurants and bars. I create that space. I try to make this place as Fed friendly as possible, because we're close enough downstream to high levels of influence to have gained interest of various organizations, and I try to be accommodating because we can learn a lot from them, and like all Jesus has to do is flip the right heart, and like waves of consequence. So it's cool to have them around and can accidentally fall into it, like you've fallen into it, you know.
Let me ask you a question. Well, first of all, I'm thinking of a bartender as being someone who knows everything about everything that happens in a space, just being the most attentive person, because what else is a bartender going to do besides hang out and listen? So I would see this being maybe sort of the person who would be most sort of well positioned to tell me all the secrets of the corner. So I'll be looking to you for that.
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna reciprocate, but if we can come up with something for that, I'm sure.
I am one of those baby onesies. I'm a very good customer of baby onesies. And then I wanted to ask you a question, which was, and I'm trying to put my finger on it, but you were just talking about Jesus. My brain is everywhere. Tell me about your spiritual practices.
Practices? I practice trying to be holier than all the people that call themselves Christian on the internet, because I think very misguided.
When did you come to see them as misguided?
Because it's about being a Christian. It's not about following Christ. And there seems to be a little, they've made a left turn there. The path is narrow. It's the way is you fast for 40 days and listen to the Spirit. It's you cast out demons. It's you take your family. So like being a Christian is conforming to, I don't know, a different constellation of behaviors than following Christ. As far as I can tell, like those are two very different paths, and I don't know. It's Christians are fun to troll because like the internet is so much worse. It's fun to be a level 1 rat, like biting at the noobs when you know that like there's level 40 guys out there just waiting for them to walk into the wrong place and like really thrash their belief system and send them back deconstructing. So it's, I don't know. I feel like I'm doing good by being bad.
Like an Oscar the Grouch situation.
Like a what?
Like an Oscar the Grouch situation.
Yes. That's not inaccurate.
Yes.
He was one of the archetypes programmed into me young. Oh, we got a Van Donk in the corner. In the corner of the corner, in the hive mind of this slum.
Behavior.
I want to be like when people. I'm the Moss Eisley of the corner. That's how I see it.
What?
The cantina on Moss Eisley is a Star Wars thing.
Of course. We watch Star Trek in this family. We're not big on Star Wars.
That's it. You were programmed with the next generation, so you get the Borgification, the cell assimilation we're in.
Borg kind of gets me. We can defeat the Borg. We just have to say some weird logic shit.
Meanwhile, all the people have become. I've been thinking. Where's that? I've been wanting to record a skit that I haven't done, so I'm going to perform it. There's a rehearsal now. It goes like this. Whoa! You know, because we accentuate what's going on our insides when we're experiencing the deep psychological programming. It's comical.
Deep psychological programming?
Yeah, it's supernormal stimuli. You're familiar as a person in academia with the concept, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay. So once upon a time, these scientist folks found a bird that sat on eggs, and they found that she seemed to favor the red eggs when she was sitting on her eggs. So scientists, being the good, wonderful people that they are, took a really red ball or made a really red egg, and they put it in that little bird's nest.
Mm-hmm.
And because that was a supernormal stimuli, that bird just sat on the egg ball that the scientists made, and her actual children froze and died. And so that's the notion of supernormal stimuli. Is your biology is set to respond to certain stimuli, and us being us scientist folks, we can Beauregard strawberry it down into the essence of the essence of the essence of the stimuli, and that's super normal. Like you have to have resistance to mind control to not be suckered into it. And
yeah. No, that makes me think of like, have you heard of these ash line surveys where it's like, if you get people together in a group and they you can get people to say that two lines that are clearly a very different length are the same length because of this need.
They'd rather not be an outcast.
Don't want to be an outcast. That's it.
Yes.
That's a real thing.
But the fun thing to think about supernormal stimuli is like as primates, we see there's certain things we see like the one monkey with the really red anuses, and if you associate that with lip injections, and why those are so popular in the Instagram filters and that look. It's the supernormal stimuli is being triggered, and that's the one that's being triggered. So
That's
makes
just
me laugh.
weird. So, okay, I'm hearing a lot of. I know you do your adjunct professing and things. Are you? Where are you standing in relation to academia? This is like
I think it's fallen. Like Peterson was one of the first escapees, and that those pursuing if they don't recognize how fallen it is, then they're meant to go down with it. Whatever, like starting to host VR seminars or being here in this place, they can actually be of service to people that want to be there. They can be more service. Those in academia could be more of service on the internet than they can be in their ivory towers at this point. There's things that they know that are worth saving that I don't recognize, but I don't know how they're gonna. That's for them to figure out. They turned the education into a commodity too much, and then the downstream of that has destroyed the integrity.
Destroyed the integrity of information, of knowledge,
higher education.
of higher education as an institution.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're going to deal with that. But that's my take. You'd be better off on the internet. I is what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's a lot of messes in academia, like anything else. I'm interested. I mean, I want to get into. I mean, I don't know how much time you have, but I'm really interested in sort of how you grew up. I just heard you talk about getting Rip Van Winkle by video games, and I know there's a lot of backstory there, and I don't know how to dig into it.
I grew up raised by a single mother who lived in either books or work. It was work or books. So it was just me. And so like 93, 94, I had way more time to invest in the internet than my conspecifics. And I found there was becoming the line where video games became occupation. Like that was a career path, involvement in video games. And so that allowed me to spend way too much of my life playing them, as it were. And reality came in knocking. Here, let me run some branding while I see who's at the door.
If you pay somebody to go through internet making nice comments about your company and your product, that is astroturfing. Yeah, it's comments about a product, a service, a policy, which appear to come from ordinary members of the public, but in fact they don't. Yeah, they come from actors or people who are working for the company. Yeah, it's like orchestrated marketing or public relations, making people think that, well, everybody supports this. Yeah, and that's the idea. Idea is to present things as unsolicited comments, to make something look like community mobilization.
Okay, where somebody wanted to mow my lawn. Yeah, so it was like I did the minimum necessary. The like staying home from school was the win condition. But I went to the work, I paid the taxes, and then I got the free time was entertainment, usually via the internet because it was way cheap. Like a video game MMO subscription was $10 a month, whereas leaving the house for an evening is $40. So, and then that was 30 years or so. or so.
30 years. Okay, so through your 20s then.
Yeah.
30s. And then something changed.
My apocalypse was December 12th, 2012. 2012.
Well,
And if I hadn't killed myself by then, I wasn't allowed to. Because, dancing with the thoughts for decades is stupid. And that came and went, and so something different had to happen there. And I gave up the I'm just going to find a job with a ceiling and do that till I die approach. And so something else had to happen. And then I saw that video from Alan Watts where he said, just do what you love until they pay you for it. And I started dicking around on the internet. And ta-da! They're paying me for it.
Great. So we have that in common. We both do what we love.
Bonus agency deck, deuces. What do you want? Buddy wants fed. I don't know how much. Like, you got any more good questions?
You know what? I'm ready to wind down too. I've been on since pretty early this morning, and my dog is also crying in the basement. So,
Oh yes, we did say we'd answer people's questions, and Ups has brought us one. How would you describe your humor/comedy level?
I'm here to have a good time, Clint. I don't know what I don't know what this question is. I'm here to have fun.
I don't think she's one of those charts and graphs kind of scientists with a level. Well, it's a 4.7 clearly, Clint.
I'm a 9 on the humor scale.
Do you feel a part of it now moment when Chad left you alone to carry the lawnmower stream? What was that moment like for you? The other day on the lawnmower stream, Chad was like, my stuff's broken. Here, have the whole screen. Carry the stream. What was that like for you?
What a moment in the life of a sociologist and in the life of TLC. Let me tell you, that was really that was a transformative moment. Mills 8102.
That whole stream actually is like very clippable. I hope it makes its way through the loom room. Like it turned into something pretty special with the faces transferring and stuff. That was good.
Yeah. A lot of good humor.
Tell us what you think about the Borg.
It scares the shit out of me. Doesn't it scare the shit out of everyone? Isn't that the point?
You think the people in the hive mind are scared of the Borg?
I mean, the way it is on Star Trek, it's like everybody is one. But then there's the one episode where the guy's kind of free and can kind of see his way out of it. I feel like that's where TLCers are. They can, they're kind of free from. I don't know. Is that
what did you think of Deep Space Nine?
I don't think I've seen that. Have I seen that yet? We started with the original series, and then we moved to the Next Generation, and I'm totally clueless about everything else. We're just like 3/4 of the way through the Next Generation.
You haven't even done Voyager? Oh boy!
I mean, I've got time this weekend. I'm here. It's gonna be like 90 degrees here. I'm like, let's sit in the basement and watch movies.
What do you find most helpful/valuable? What's all the slashes, guys? About the TLC and how we can improve it.
It's a beautiful space. I think people are really full of heart and full of hope, which I think is unusual in the United States right now. And they're coming together in a way that, I mean, I'm giving away the plot here, but people are coming together here in a way that they don't come together almost anywhere else. And then they're finding ways to come together in real life too. I think it's huge. I think it's transformative. I think it's going to change the world. I'm on a soapbox now. I don't know.
Well, that was great. That was Clara Embodying. We're going to end the show on that beautiful note. Held together by hope and your donations. Thanks, Embody. Where's the train? Ups, can you find the train? I can't find the train. There's too many brandings loaded. We've overloaded the there it is.